Hello, everyone, and welcome to this week's edition of Ignite. Today, I'm really thrilled to be here with Joe Chidley, founder of Beauty Kitchen. Welcome, Joe.
Hi, everyone. It's really nice to be here, and thanks for inviting me.
Fantastic, Joe. So today we want to talk a little bit about your business, but I want to start a little bit backward. I want to go back to when you were in school. Can you tell me a bit about where you're from, where you went to school, and maybe what you were like in school, what you like to study, etc.?
Yeah, so hi everyone, my name's Joe Chidley and I was born in a little place called Yoker in Glasgow and then moved out in the first few years of my life to Wishaw or Wishy, if you're local, in North Lanarkshire. And that was where the majority of my schooling was based. I still now live here, although I have travelled for lots of different reasons, including work. And, I started out studying lots of different things at school, but my two favourite subjects were modern studies and the sciences. So I took physics and chemistry is a really practical science, and for me that was the one that really sparked a lot of interest. But modern studies and the way that we contribute throughout the world that we live in, it has always been really important to me. And when I did move to England for one of my first job roles, I was really surprised to find out that they didn't study it there. So it's something that is quite unique to Scotland, and I think it's something that is pride of having that experience and exposure.
Fantastic, great. And did you think about being an entrepreneur when you were in school? Was that
No, I didn't even know anything about that. The word didn't even come into my head, and not even sort of business owner or anything like that. It was really around trying to get a real job, I think is how my family would talk about it, and I'm sure many other families talk about it. I still get asked that today, when are you going to get a real job? So I think that's quite funny. However, I do think that there is lots of different things that different parents and family and community members did that was around that business orientation. So, my mum did Oriflame, which is still around. It's where you would invite your friends and family over, and somebody from Oriflame or another beauty company would show you all of the products, show you how to use them, and then the friends and family would work. So there was always that entrepreneurial mindset. There was always the mindset of having to do things for yourself and be very kind of purpose-led in that. Now I know the kind of words to put around that, but at the time it was just what you did.
Absolutely. I think I can completely relate to that. I didn't know any entrepreneurs, or I didn't think I knew any entrepreneurs, but then looking back, I was like, actually, I knew a lot of people that were doing entrepreneurial things. I just never called it that. Brilliant. So when you finished school, where did you go next? Where did
So
your path take you?
Yeah, so I was mediocre at school. I'm a big reader. I love to learn, but I'm inconsistent, and that still plays through. But we'll come on to that. So I didn't get into university, which is what I wanted to do. So I had to do an access course. So I went to a college first, did an HND, and then moved in to finish off the degree, and that was in analytical chemistry. So that was kind of the basis. And at the time, I never really knew what I wanted to do. So the kind of jobs that I did after I finished university were not related to development chemistry, although I am a chemist. I moved to Leeds and started working for Leeds Rugby League Club as a commercial manager. It was really social. Yeah, but it was also around that orientation of how do you make money, because it has to be commercial. The team need to get paid, but how do you engage as well with that, family orientation of the audience that are coming to the games? And that kind of set the backdrop to that human element. And that's really where my professional experience came. I moved into an HR role quite early. It was my kind of mid-20s. And I was fortunate to then get the job of head of HR for Avon Cosmetics. And the backdrop here was I've always loved beauty products. I'm obsessed with skincare and obsessed by what is in there. Really, that was the foundation of me starting my own business. I kind of felt that a lot of beauty industry had lost its way. It become so scientific that you as the person were so distant from it, and you were not allowed to understand this dark magic. And that kind of loses the fun of making stuff and making a face mask and sharing it with your friends or making it for your mum as a gift. And I really felt that there was a kind of gap in the market between your kind of lush stores and your everyday where you just buy it off of another supermarket or a Boots. And that's really where Beauty Kitchen was born. It was around natural ingredients, but it was around DIY beauty, and we were one of the first to create that.
What an amazing journey, starting with rugby through to human resources, HR, and then to starting your own business. That's absolutely brilliant and lovely to see that you don't have to actually start out with exactly what you want to do on day one, all those experiences build up. When you decided you wanted to start a business, what were the first steps that you took?
So I think you have to wonder what's missing for you as a customer. You are the first customer, and then your friends and family are the first customers that are supporting you. And at the end of the day, if more than one person is going to buy something that you make, then you know that you've got a solution. It might not be perfect, but at least it's not fake. Yeah, and that's really what the ethos was. It was around building up the customer base by doing lots of different things and selling to lots of different people and finding out, is that really where the market gap was? And then some people say star alignment, you were lucky, you were in the right place. I believe you can make that. I had an opportunity to meet with the Holland and Barrett buyer for beauty in a store in Manchester. But something had happened on the motorway and she was an hour and a half late. She literally said to me, "You have 10 minutes." And we weren't in the store, we were in the local Starbucks. Now, I had already prepared in my head, if something goes wrong, what am I going to do? So I had a little stainless steel bowl. I had some white sugar, which is what you use in your tea. I had some essential oils and I had some olive oil. And I made her a hand scrub there and then and did the hand scrub with her. And that was it. Because I could relate to that buyer and that person. And when you do it with hands in particular, and anybody that does anything with their hands will know it feels great when you wash your hands with something that smells nice, or it feels nice when you put lotion on when it's winter. So hands are always the way to go as a starting point for beauty. And that was it.
Wow, so fantastic. Also, the experiential aspect of it. Just let her feel it, touch it, show how simple it is. And when you started, were you making it at home? Where did you start making the products?
Yeah, so at first we were making it in our kitchen. So that was when we were doing sort of craft fairs and farmers markets and car boot sales, etc. When we were developing it for Holland and Barrett, we had to have what's called retail ready. And the personal care in the beauty industry, whether you're using natural ingredients or synthetic ingredients, they are chemicals. There is a very, very high regulatory process that you have to go through. So getting your products retail ready means that they have to be tested, they have to be registered, and you have to make them look good on a shelf. So as long as you can get that to a certain stage with a larger corporate organisation, they don't expect it to be perfect. Yeah, because they know that you are an independent, young kind of brand that's trying to make their way. You just need to get the product out, get the feedback back, change it, and keep moving on. And when you're in consumer products, unless you have a very well established, 100-year product, for example, You have to do iterations. It is as fast as a tech business. Your iterations have to be consistent and they have to be constant. So you're always bringing something new and you're keeping ahead of the ingredients and the legislation and just being that kind of on the cusp of, very innovative.
Wonderful. So constantly iterating, constantly learning, constantly evolving. Okay, so what's something you're most proud of about your business?
So there's two aspects to my business, Beauty Kitchen and Reposit. So Beauty Kitchen is an indie beauty brand. It sells, skincare and bath and body. It's relatively straightforward, but our formulations are, very unique. Reposit is a returnable packaging system. And what that means is that every piece of packaging that we have, so this is one of our new products. This is aloe vera gel, organic, and it is 100% natural. There is no microplastics, which is very rare. But we have Reposit here, and on the bottom, every piece of packaging is QR coded. And what that means is once this is finished, this can be returned. And we then have a state-of-the-art washing facility, and the packaging is then washed, refilled, and sent back out to customers. However, we don't just do that for Beauty Kitchen. We do it for large corporate organisations like Marks and Spencer's, one of the largest retailers in the UK, and Unilever, one of the largest personal care companies in the world. And the reason for that comes back to, yes, I like chemistry and I love beauty, but modern studies has always driven my values. And for me, the way that we do business is changing. And modern studies taught me the aspect of collective action. Collective action is when you are not competing against another company, that you are bringing your resources together to do the right thing. I don't think that businesses should be allowed to do what they want to just make profit. I think they need to be very consistent about how they look after the people, not just in their business, but overall their customer base, their supply chain base, and how they look after the planet. Because I would never be able to make a beautiful product like this if I didn't have the people supporting it and the planet giving us the ingredients to do it. So, that is a very different business model.
Yeah, such an important message, right? Because there sometimes is this distinction between what's good for business and what's good for the world. But actually, they can be the same thing if you think
They
about
can't
it appropriately.
always.
They need to be. So business can be a force for good.
Yeah.
And actually, when most businesses actually come from some sort of problem that people want to solve that's good for the world, and if we can solve it in a way that's also good for the world, then that's a win-win for everybody. That's brilliant. That's brilliant. So when did the Reposit start? How long has that been around?
So we started it with Beauty Kitchen and tested it through Holland and Barrett back in about 2018. But it's really been going since 2021 when we launched with Unilever, and then 2022 Marks and Spencer's. So there is a very recent thing that happened. We've launched the Borrow Cup in Glasgow. And what that means is that there is 60 outlets in the Glasgow area. Your large coffee chains, including a sort of a Costa, a Cafe Nero, a Pret, all the way through to independents like Tinderbox or Plant Blonde. And that means that people have the option to have a reusable cup, but they then just return it. So it's gone really well. And again, in the UK alone, 388 million single-use coffee cups are used every year. And they have to go somewhere, guys, when they go in the bin. So where do they go? And there's no need. We can make the changes. It's just about you having that idea and being passionate about that idea, whatever it is.
Fantastic. And what I also love about that is taking an idea that you have from beauty, but then transferring it to coffee. Like your solution can be used in so many different ways. So people don't have to put themselves into a box to say, well, I just do beauty or I do this. What you were doing is helping to find solutions for the planet. That's amazing. Okay, what I'd love to do now is just talk a little bit about your life as an entrepreneur. So what do you love about being an entrepreneur?
The lifelong learning, the fact you can be curious about anything, and also that it's your adventure. because it's your life. I think a lot of the times people think you have to be running your own business to be an entrepreneur, but actually you can do it within an organisation. I think it's around that, it's that curiosity for continuous improvement. And I think if you have, that in any format, so whether it's your swimming stroke or your football stroke or your tech stroke, wherever that falls in your particular life, and you want to improve it, hold on to that, because that is the driver that really gets you out of bed in the morning.
Entrepreneurship is not actually just owning a business. It's a way of thinking. It's a way of being.
It's
That
always a way of
mindset
thinking.
of
Yeah,
continuous improvement that we can
completely.
apply to absolutely everything that we do in life. And what would you, are there specific things that you might suggest that someone study or read or watch that can prepare them for the journey?
I think it depends on your preference. As part of my experience, I'm also qualified for Myers-Briggs or MBTI. And if anybody looks that up, it's a tool that can let you know what your preference is. And a great way to do it would be like this. Can you shake your arms, Karen? Can I get you to shake your arms? Right, I want you to fold them. Okay. So shake your arms again. And then fold your arms the other way.
That feels weird.
Yeah, and that's what preference is. So when you
Yeah.
fold them the first time, it's your natural way to do it. Yeah,
Mm.
when you fold them the other way, that's not in preference. So what you're looking for in your life is, what's your preference? Now, it's not that you can't fold your arms the other way. It just feels awkward. And that's what people just need to remember, is that you need to find what your preference is, but you need to recognize that there's things that you don't like to do, but it's not that you can't do them. And I think if you keep that in mind, then that will help you in any decisions that you make.
So the tool you talked about is Myers-Briggs, which people can
Yes,
look up. There's lots of online quizzes to help you with that.
it
But I
is.
think the key message there is that we all do things in different ways, and there's no right or wrong way, right? It's your way of doing it. And so find the thing that you're passionate about and that works for you and lean into that and really drive that. And don't necessarily the things that you maybe don't find as easy, don't let that hold you back, because actually that can be overcome and you can also get people to help you and support you in that as
Well,
well,
that's what
right?
I do. So my preference is ENTP. And what that means is I'm the explorer. I'm a change manager. That's what my natural preference is. So what I'm not good at is finishing things off. So what I do is I complement with having either, you know, so my husband Stuart is really good at finishing things off. Yeah, so it's finding those people that can complement. It's not that I couldn't finish something off, it's just it would take me a lot more energy. But as long as I know that I've got a go-to person that can help me to say, well, have you thought about it in this way? Or what if you just did that? You would finish it off. That's a great help, because I feel such a sense of achievement when I do finish something off. I work really hard with my non-preferred way of folding my arms, but it means that anything to do with exploration, curiosity, change management, continuous improvement, that's where my energy lies. And I can do that so much quicker than I can of finishing, I don't know, like a form or a survey.
Always be somebody that loves that stuff and is good at that stuff
Yeah.
and can help and complement you. So I'm very conscious of your time because you have a very busy business to run. Any final words for the budding entrepreneurs out there?
If you are considering any sort of business model that hasn't been done before, we are doing a circular business model which is very niche. Find other people to then solve that problem. For me, that's where the energy and the adventure and the opportunity is.
Fantastic. Collaborate, work together, go on an adventure. I love thinking about it all as an adventure. Wonderful. Well, Joe, it's been such a pleasure to speak with you. We've loved having you, and thank you so much for your time.
No problem. Thank you for having me.